In lane 6 from Sydney University and the Australian National University, we have Anika Reardon and Georgia Miansaro. They're coached by Nigel Harding and Thomas Larrick, and looking to confirm a place to go to the final qualification regatta in the women's lightweight double scull. Lane 7 from Sydney University, Jamie Ford and Asa Rafi, coached by Alan Bennett, Alfie Young and Thomas Larrick. And lane 8 from Adelaide Rowing Club, Celia Cowan and Joyce Jollins, coached by Darren Potts and Ron Mobbs.
Thank you, Stuart. A few of the NTC boats on the course here, of course, as you'd expect in this final of the Open Women's Double Scull. It was great to see Tara Rigney, the Australian single sculler, defend her Open single scull title yesterday. And she, of course, will go to the Olympic regatta later on this year. And we're seeing here the double scull that will also race for Australia in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games too, coming up later in July, about 4 months till the Olympics is underway over in France, which promises to be a fantastic couple of weeks of racing in the Olympics, and then the Paralympics will follow that about 2 weeks later on. So a great period coming up over July and August, and this combination should be front and centre there. It is so Sydney, Melbourne University, as they are up on screen. That's the combination of Amanda Bateman of Melbourne Uni and Harriet Hudson from the Sydney Rowing Club. That is the Australian women's double scull there in lane 4 in the distinctive NTC boat colours. Amanda Bateman there in the bow seat for Melbourne Uni, and Harriet Hudson in the stroke seat. Harriet Hudson, of course, an Olympic bronze medalist from the quad scull back in Olympic, bronze medalist in the quad back in the Tokyo 2020 in 2021 games as they were. And a couple other members of that quad in this race as well. Caitlin Cronin racing here for the University of Queensland, along with Laura Goulet of UTS in the composite combination on lane 5, who'd be narrowly third. And lane 6 is Anika Reardon and Georgia Miansaro, the ANU and Sydney University Boat Club composite crew, who are potentially the Australian lightweight women's double scull. Another birthday being celebrated here today is that of Caitlin Cronin. So happy birthday to Caitlin, who obviously can't hear this right now, but I do hope you have a memorable day here and possibly a national championship medal. I did briefly get to coach Caitlin when she was rowing at the O'Halloran School up in Brisbane about a bit over a decade ago now. So she was a very hard-working school athlete, and it's been great to see her progress through to the highest levels of the sport now too. Still racing, of course, for the University of Queensland Boat Club, but training at the National Training Centre, which is just down the road here on the Nepean River in Penrith. But unsurprisingly, these combinations, little match for the top double scull in the country, certainly in the views of the Olympic selectors, and they're proving that here today now with almost a 6-second lead. The combination on lane 4, Amanda Bateman and Harriet Hudson. Amanda Bateman, in fact, was a student at Furbank Grammar School in Melbourne, I learnt a couple of weeks ago, and still racing for Melbourne University. Harriet Hudson was, or I think still is, a Queenslander. She went to school at Somerville House up in Brisbane, now rowing for the Sydney Rowing Club, but both, of course, members of the National Training Centre. So it's Bateman and Hudson who lead it from, looks like Caitlin Cronin and Laura Goulet may have now moved up into second place. Laura Goulet, a new addition to the quad scull in the last year or so, in that boat there with Caitlin Cronin. And the other crew to watch, again, the lightweight combination, Anika Reardon and Georgia Miansaro in lane 6, who we know are racing for times at this regatta. They still need to justify their selection for the final Olympic qualification regatta. And Reardon and Miansaro certainly racing with great intent down lane 6. So they remain our top 3 combinations here, as they've come well through halfway in this race. Lane 2, it would look like, is the second place crew, Rowena Meredith and Kate Rowan. Again, Australian representative athletes there. Rowena Meredith was a member of that same quad scull, along with Caitlin Cronin and Harriet Hudson and Ria Thompson, who won the Olympic bronze medal back 3 years ago. They sit in 4th place. Then Sophie Rayner and Catherine Kahn, that's the ANU Mercantile combination, both of whom raced in the final of the single scull race yesterday, which, as I mentioned, was won by the Australian single sculler in the form of Tara Rigney. And the Australian women's double scull very well placed here as they go through 1,500 metres in 5:13.03. They are 6.80 seconds ahead of the University of Queensland UTS combination, who do sit there in second place. That is Cronin and Goulet. And then Sydney Uni ANU were third at 1,500 metres. That's the combination on lane 6, Anika Reardon and Georgia Mansaro. And then fourth would still be lane 2, Rena Meredith and Kate Rowan for Sydney University Boat Club, ahead of Sophie Rayner of Mercantile and Catherine Kahn of the ANU. Lane 7 next, Jamie Ford and Aisha Rafi, who did race in the single scull yesterday and finished in 4th place. Team Singapore, lane 1, Joan Poe and Joanna Chang Lai Cheng. And Adelaide Rowing Club racing in lane 8, Celia Cowan and Joyce Jollands. But it is great to see our NTC athletes at the National Championships. They're training pretty hard across the course of this week, but making some racing appearances in between. We'll see plenty of them also in the interstate racing come Sunday afternoon, the final day, the final afternoon of this regatta. But in the meantime, it is the combination of Amanda Bateman from Melbourne University and Harriet Hudson of Sydney Rowing Club, the Australian women's double scull. They're about 4 lengths clear now in the closing strokes of the final of the Open women's double scull. Laura Goulet and Caitlin Cronin coming home well for a silver medal, it appears, on her birthday today. But it's going to be a win in the Open Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia Final 2. The green and gold boat on lane 4 of Amanda Bateman and Harriet Hudson as they come across on lane 4 and take the win. So Bateman and Hudson in first place. The silver medal will go to Laura Goulet and Caitlin Cronin, who will race together in the Australian Quad Scull later in the year as well. A few lengths then back to lane 6, the lightweight combination. Anika Reardon and Georgia Mansaro race all the way to the line across now there for the bronze medal. 4th on the far side will go to Rowena Meredith and Kate Rowan for Sydney Uni. 5th place then the composite crew on lane 3, Sophie Rayner and Catherine Kahn. We followed home by lane 7, Sydney Uni, Jamie Ford and Aisha Rafi. 7th and 8th on either side of the course. Team Singapore, lane 1 will finish in 7th place, and Adelaide Rowing Club, lane 8 will finish in 8th position. But it is double scull. .26, 7.77 seconds ahead of the second place combination.
Presentation of medals for the Under-23 Women's Coxswaller Sport Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Bowes, Pathways Transition Manager with Rowing Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, Melbourne University and Mercantile. Their crew, Katerina Bitsios, Bridget Harwood, Anna Morrison, and Zara Lavery. Supported by the Victorian Institute of Sport. Second place and silver medalists, the University of Queensland Boat Club. Their crew, Georgia Montague, Ellie Reedy, Lucy Hope, and Nancy Duncan Banks. They're coached by Philip Bergignon and supported by the Queensland Academy of Sport. And our gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney, Swan River and Fremantle Rowing Clubs. The winning crew, Genevieve Hart, Rebecca Pretorius, Isabella Scammell and Caitlin McManus-Barrett. They're coached by Lachlan Carter and Jamie Hewlett and supported by the New South Wales and West Australian Institutes of Sports. Please congratulate our 2024 Australian champions and medalists. As we move on now to race number 372, it's the Open Men's Double Scull in final. In lane 1 from North Escott, Buckingham, we have Joseph Wilson and Jack Barrett, coached by Trevor Barrett. Lane 2 from Camden ANU, Hamish Harding and Alec Patterson, coached by Dave Romano and Scott Rowe. In lane 3 from Capital Lakes and Adelaide Rowing Clubs, Mitchell Reinhardt and Harry Glacken, coached by Nicholas Mitchell. Lane 4 from ANU and Adelaide Rowing Clubs, Oscar McGuinness and Caleb Antill, coached by Nicholas Mitchell. Lane 5, it's the Australian crew of David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata from Sydney University. Lane 6 from the West Australian Rowing Club, Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi, supported by the West Australian Institute of Sport and the National Training Centre. Lane 7 from Banks and Melbourne University, Joel Kane and James Meads. And Lane 8 from Griffith University, Queensland, Noah Roseman and Jackson Free, coached by Michael Russell and Marcus Free.
Thank you, Stuart. And they're racing here in the final of the Open Men's Double Scull. And we do once again have the Australian combination in this race. So more of our NTC athletes up here, in the men's case, from the National Training Centre based at Lake Burleigh Griffin in Canberra. And we are seeing David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata of Sydney University sitting out with the lead on lane 5 ahead of the West Australian Rowing Club, it looks like, in second place. So that's Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi there, the combination from the West Australian Rowing Club. And they've got a bit of a gap back then. Probably in third place, lane 2 at this stage, the Cairn Composite crew, Hamish Harding and Alec Patterson of the ANU and Cairn clubs, coached by David Romano and Scott Rose. So our field about to go through the 500 metre mark, in fact the 1,000 metre mark, that is, the halfway point of this race, and we will get confirmation it's being led by the Sydney University and New South Wales Institute. On lane 5, David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata, who are for the Olympic regatta, of course, have to still qualify the boat at the final qualification regatta at that wonderful course in Lucerne, Switzerland, later in the year. And hopefully from there, if they can finish in the required, usually top 2 or 3 places, only can go through from there to the Olympic regatta. So a challenge still awaits for David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata, but they lead in this race in the final of the Open Men's Double Scull and lead fairly comfortably over the combination beside them. Well, in fact, about half length or so, so not that comfortable as we get a good angle from the side. And we see Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi there of the West Australian Rowing Club sitting in second position. Approaching the 1,500 metre mark of this race, and it is still Bartolo and Delamata who lead narrowly, but from Rossi and Cleary there, the West Australian combination as well. Just 0.63 of a second now between those two. 5.63 seconds, then we go back to the ANU and Adelaide Rowing Club combination. Oscar McGuinness and Caleb Antill there in third place. We've got almost the whole field also from the Open Men's Single Scull final yesterday. So David Bartolo, the winner of that, in the ahead of Jack Cleary. Scull. He's racing here with Oscar McGuinness. Hamish Harding finished 5th, who's racing with Alec Patterson over in lane 2. And the All-Victorian combination of James Meads and Joel Kane were respectively 6th and 8th for Banks and Melbourne University yesterday in the single scull. Combining here in the double, they'd be in about 6th place then, ahead of Noah Roseman and Jackson Free from the Queensland Composite Crew would call them, and the Tasmanian Composite Crew on the far side of the course, Joseph Wilson and Jack Barrett. So only a couple hundred metres to go, and still it is Bartolo and Delamata leading it here from Cleary and Rossi. So two good combinations here have been within a length all the way down the course here, but it is the Sydney Uni combination who still sit narrowly out in front. So David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata leading it from Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi. Then back to Oscar McGuinness and Caleb Antle as they close in on the finish line. The Australian men's double scull clear by almost a boat length as they push across the line in a couple of strokes time. The win will go to David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata for Sydney University. Ahead of the other NTC combination, Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi in second position. Third then goes to Oscar McGuinness and Caleb Antle on lane 4. Fourth will be the next of the dark grey boats. They're over in lane 2. That's Hamish Harding and Alex Patterson in 4th place. 5th to Joseph Wilson and Jack Barrett. 6th place will be Joel Kane and James Meads. 7th then looks like it'll go to lane 1 and lane 3, I should say. And the combination also from Griffith University, Surfers Paradise and the University of Queensland. Welcome back, Lizzie Chapman.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, that was an exciting final and confirming the results in the Open Men's Double Scull. A win for Sydney University Boat Club's Bartolo and Delamata. Second was the West Australian Rowing Club double of Jack Cleary and Alex Rossi. And third, the ANU Adelaide Rowing Club composite of Oscar McGuinness and Cable Antill. The winning time, provisional time, 6 minutes 24.07. The margin 1.38 and 6.14. The presentation of medals for the Under-23 Men's Coxless 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Bowes, Rowing Australia Pathways Transition Manager. Third place and bronze medalists, Sydney Rowing Club. Toby Tegg. James Fredrickson, Angus Aitken and Declan Glendenning. The crew was coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Felix Dürr. Second place and silver medalists, UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. Supported by the New South Wales Institute of Sport. Josh Wilson, Oliver St. Pierre, Mackenzie Thompson and Nick Pender. The crew was coached by Matthias Ungermark and Judith Ungermark. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club and Canned Rowing Club. Miles Harold from Sydney Rowing Club, Alec Hoskin from Sydney Rowing Club, Darcy Watter from Canned Rowing Club, Bradley Graham from Sydney Rowing Club. The crew was coached by Donovan Seck and Scott Rowe. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our champions and medalists in the Under-23 Men's Coxless 4. We now move to the final of the Open Women's Coxless 4, racing for the Herald and Weekly Times trophy. In lane 1, Sydney Rowing Club. In lane 2, a composite of Mercantile, the University of WA and Melbourne University. In lane 3, a composite between Sydney University and Swan River. In lane 4, a composite between Melbourne University, UTS Haberfield and Sydney Rowing Club. In lane 5, West Australian Rowing Club with Swan River, the University of Queensland and Adelaide. In lane 6, another composite between the University of Queensland, Melbourne University, Sydney University and Cand. In lane 7, Buckingham Rowing Club from Tasmania, and in lane 8, Sydney University, Adelaide and Melbourne University in a composite. Running through the names, the Sydney Rowing Club crew on the far side in lane 1, Talise Noak Driver, Amelia Crocker, Hannah Keating and Isabel Furrer. They are coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. In lane 2, it's Lucy Stephan from Melbourne University Boat Club, Bronwyn Cox from the University of West Australian Boat Club, Jess Morrison from Mercantile and Paige Barr from Mercantile, all members of our national team. In lane 3, Molly McCausland from Sydney Uni Boat Club, Emma Wilson from Swan River and the West Australian Institute of Sport, Taylor Caudle and India Hobbs from Sydney University Boat Club. This crew is coached by Tom Lorridge. In lane 4, Eliza Gaffney from Melbourne University Boat Club and the VIS, Samantha Morton from Sydney Rowing Club and Georgie Rowe from UTS, both from the National Training Centre, and Jean Mitchell from Melbourne University Boat Club and the VIS. In lane 5, we have Molly Goodman from Adelaide Rowing Club and the NTC, Lily Alton from the University of Queensland Boat Club, Jackie Swick from Swan River and Georgia Patton from West Australian Rowing Club, all members of the National Training Centre. In lane 6, we have Maddie Williams from Cairns Boat Club, Laura Club and Boat Club. By Abby Crow, and our final crew in lane 8, Sarah Marriott from Melbourne University Boat Club, Ella Bramwell from Adelaide Rowing Club, Georgie Gleeson from Sydney Uni and Eleanor Price from Sydney Uni.
That is the crew that was on screen there, Lizzie, the lane 8 combination race. So a very, very good field in those distinctively coloured boats of the Mercantile composite combination.
And what have they ever done in a 4?
There's a couple of big names there. Lucy Stephan amongst them, who we noted earlier in checking interstate cruises, both rowing in and the assistant coach of the Victorian Women's 8 for the interstate regatta.
Yes, and of course a gold medalist in the Coxless 4 at international level. Jess Morrison, wonderful pairs rower, and here in the 3-seat, I presume, of this 4. Looks as though Lucy's coaching from the bow seat.
Yep, that's
yeah,
it.
such strong women there in that 4, leading in lane 2. But looking throughout all of the field, we've got named dates.
Yep, looking forward to that already. It's still a couple of days until Sunday afternoon, but those final 10 races of the regatta, always a fantastic one to watch. But this is the race for the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy, the Open Women's Coxless 4 Championship of Australia. The race last year was won by a Melbourne University crew, which did include Lucy Stephan. So she's looking to go back-to-back in a different combination this year. And they certainly have been our race leaders through 500 and 1,000 metres now, and still look to be as they come towards the 1,500 metre mark. And then a really good race there in the centre of the course between the next 2 crews coming through. That other NTC crew, the West Australian Rowing Club composite crew of Molly Goodman, Lily Alton, Jackie Swick and Georgia Patton. I think it's still just in second. Indeed, they are over the Eliza Gaffney, Samantha Morton, Georgie Rowe and Jean Mitchell. So a number of Australian rowers here in the mix for the medals and the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy in the Open Women's Coxless 4 race, as they have now about 350 metres to go.
I must say I'm very grateful that school crews don't do composites.
Yes, they do make it quite the mouthful with all of these clubs, with good reasons, of course, especially when the Australian athletes are concerned. But you can see the mix of colours and a mix of names right across the course here. So some of the best combinations you'll see in Australian rowing here. But it continues to still be that crew of Lucy Steffen, Bronwyn Cox, Jess Morrison and Paige Barr towards the southern side of the course, who are our race leaders. Over lane 4 now up into second place. Eliza Gaffney, Samantha Morton, Georgie Rowe and Jean Mitchell. And then the West Australian composite crew, who were certainly in second for most of the race. They're still close, but at this stage, and Georgia Patton. Lane 8, Sarah Marriott, Ella Bramwell, Georgie Gleeson and Eleanor Price as well. And lane 6, University of Queensland composite crew, along with Melbourne Uni, Sydney Uni at the Cairns Rowing Club. But it's going to be lane 2. It looks like it'll take out the win in the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy. The Mercantile, University of Western Australia, Melbourne Uni, National Training Centre crew on lane 2 claims the win. They win it by almost exactly a length. Lane 4 in second place. That's Melbourne Uni, UTS and Sydney Rowing Club. Lane 5 will be next, the West Australian Rowing Club composite crew. Sydney Uni composite lane 8 got up for 4th. 5th then went to the University of Queensland composite crew. The Sydney Rowing Club, all from the one club. They're over in lane 1. A good effort from them. And then it'll be Sydney Uni Swan River, it looks like. It will come across in 7th place, and the Buckingham Rowing Club from
confirming the results of the Open Women's Coxless 4 Championships. A win for a composite between Mercantile, University of WA and Melbourne University. Second, a composite of Melbourne University Boat Club with UTS Haberfield and Sydney Rowing Clubs. And third, West Australian, Swan River, University of Queensland and Adelaide composite. The winning time provisionally 6 minutes 35.5 seconds. The margins 2.21 and 2.49. Double Scull Championship of Australia. The medals and the Herald, medals will be presented by Andrew Gearin, OAM, life member of Rowing Australia. Representing Sydney University. Program, Annika Reardon from ANU City Boat Club. The crew is coached by Nigel Harding and Tom Lorridge. Second and silver medalists representing the University of Queensland Boat Club and UTS Haberfield. Laura Gourley from UTS and Caitlin Cronin from the University of Queensland Boat Club. Both of the National Training Centre. Gold medalists and national champions for 2024, representing Sydney Rowing Club and Melbourne University Boat Club and the National Training Centre, Amanda Bateman from Melbourne University Boat Club and Harriet Hudson from Sydney Rowing Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions and medalists in the Open Women's Double Scull. And we have a start in the Open Men's Coxless 4, racing for the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy. On the far side in lane 1, we have Mitch Salisbury, Elliot Appel, Jared Lord and Miller Rowe racing for Canned Rowing Club of Queensland and the Queensland Academy of Sport. In lane 2, representing UTS Haberfield, the New South Wales Institute of Sport and the NTC, Alexander Wood, Torben Ungemark, Paddy Holt and Nick Pender, coached by Matthias and Judith Ungemark. In lane 3, a composite of Tim Masters from UTS, Jack Robertson from Mercantile, Fergus Hamilton from Mercantile and Alexander Hill from the Adelaide Rowing Club, all from the National Training Centre. In lane 4, the Sydney composite of Angus Widdicombe from Mercantile, Benjamin Canham from Melbourne University Boat Club, Spencer Turren from Sydney Rowing Club and Josh Hicks from Sydney. 5, the Turner, Roads by Scott Rowe. Rowing Club of Fraser Miss Campbell, Alexander Wolfe, Hamish Winpope and Charlie Petruni. In lane 7, a composite between Fremantle and the University of WA, Isaac Hamilton, Ahran Den Uden, Ben Clayton and Liam Davis. And in lane 8, a composite between Sydney University Boat Club and Adelaide Rowing Club of Jack Hargreaves OAM, Alex Purnell OAM, Angus Dawson and Jack O'Brien, all of the National Training Centre.
Yeah, thanks, Lizzie. A hot field once again. Looks like we've got the two halves of the Australian 8 in this boat too, split into separate crews, but 4 NTC combinations across the course here, 4 National Training Centre crews from the Reinhold Butchie Training Centre on the shores of Lake Burley Griffin in Canberra, and having a great race here down the 2,000 metre course in the final of the Open Men's Coxswarth 4, racing for the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy. Sydney University crew including Jack Hargraves and Alex Purnell, who are racing here once again in lane 8, and certainly up in contention with our top 3 crews across the course. But the lane 3 and lane 4 bow numbers are showing out prominently there as well. Lane 3 is the Adelaide composite crew with Olympic gold medalist Alexander Hill there in the stroke seat of the boat, and they've got about a half-length lead ahead of lane 4. Alongside them, that's the Sydney composite crew, so Sydney, Melbourne Uni and Mercantile, the crew there. So the full crew in lane 3 is Tim Masters of UTS, Jack Robertson of Mercantile, Fergus Hamilton of Mercantile, Alexander Hill from Adelaide, and alongside halfway mark of the Ben Canham, Spencer Turren and Joshua Hicks, who in turn are one half of the Australian 8. And then at Sydney University Adelaide, the other half of the Australian 8 in third place at this stage, but ever so narrowly. That is the crew in lane 8, Jack Hargraves of Sydney Uni, Alex Purnell of Sydney Uni, Angus Dawson from Adelaide and Jack O'Brien of the Sydney University Boat Club. So it is our 3 NTC combinations to lead this race at the halfway mark. Sitting in 4th was the lane 6 crew, that's the Melbourne University and Sydney Rowing Club composite crew, Fraser Miss Campbell, Alexander Wolfe, Hamish Winpope and Charlie Petruni. Melbourne Uni, lane 2, Sydney Uni composite, lane 5, Camden Swan River, lane 7, Fremantle and the University of Western Australia. But this great match race continues between the members of the Australian team, who will head off to the Olympics in late July in search of more medals. Of course, the Australia, the defending champions in the Coxswarth 4. But as we heard it from the selection regatta a couple of weeks ago, they are making a move to try and take the men's 8 title. Of course, Australia is still seeking their first gold medal in either the men's or women's 8. So it is a strong 8 this year being sent over to the Paris Games. And you're seeing those 2 crews here side by side, or at least as far as positions are concerned. And have a look at that, Lizzie. There's 0.32 of a second from first to third now.
Yeah, it's just such a who's who of rowing at the moment, isn't there? In those crews.
Absolutely. So the lane 3 crew, the Adelaide composite combination, have 0.17 of a second on the Sydney composite combination, lane 4, and then the Sydney Uni composite combination, lane 8. They are, as I said, the 2 halves of the Australian men's 8. And it is the Australian men's 4 racing in lane 3. That is the Alex Hillstroke crew, who will look to defend the gold medal that they won at the Tokyo Games. So these 3 crews come into the closing strokes of the race now. It's still anyone's for the gold, silver and bronze medals. Adelaide Composite lane 3, Sydney Composite lane 4, Sydney Uni Composite lane 8. The 3 crews here, they'll be our medalists, but the order is yet to be sorted out as these 3 great Australian crews are lined up right across the Sydney International Regatta Centre. The 2 boats on lanes 3 and 4 locked together. Here on lane 8, Sydney Uni Composite trying to get past them. The ratings are right up, well over 40 in all 3 boats. Lane 8 is coming home very quickly. The Composite crew closest here to the finish tower, and they will win the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy for the Open Men's Composite Sport Championship of Australia. It's the Sydney Uni Composite crew, lane 8, who get the win. Second place goes to the crew on lane 4, the Sydney Composite combination. The 2 halves of the Australian 8 finished first and second, just ahead of the Cox 4, who finished in 3rd place. The Adelaide Composite crew, what a race between those 12 Australian representative athletes. 4th has gone to looks to be the lane 6 crew there from the Melbourne Uni and Sydney clubs. 5th on the far side will be UTS Haberfield ahead of Candid 6th place. 7th to the Cand Composite with Swan River on lane 5, and 8th place race there for the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy.
Oh man, I cannot wait till. Well done to the Fremantle Composite there. I think they're stunned by the level of competition. So just confirming the results there in our Open Men's Coxless 4 Championship. It was a win from the outside lane, lane 8, Jack Hargreaves, Alex Pennell, Angus Dawson and Jack O'Brien. Second position was Angus Windican, Ben Canham, Spencer Turren and Josh Hicks, and the bronze medal to Tim Masters, Jack Robertson, Fergus Hamilton and Alexander Hill. Time 5:56.58. And we move to the presentation of medals for the Open Men's Double Scull Championship of Australia, where the medals will be presented by Andrew Gearin, OAM, life member of Rowing Australia. ANU and Adelaide, Oscar McGuinness from Adelaide Rowing Club. And the South Australian Sports Institute, Caleb Antill from the Australian National University and the National Training Centre. The crew is coached by Nick Mitchell. Second place. Jack Cleary. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney University Boat Club. David Bartolo. And Marcus Delamata. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions and medalists in the Open Men's Double Scull. And our next race is the Under-23 Lightweight Women's Double Scull. In lane 1, we have Toowong, Alice O'Toole and Jemima Powell. In lane 2, the University of Queensland Boat Club, Scarlett Woodbury and Emily Graham. In lane 3, Banks, Tia Broad and Emily Rouse. In lane 4, a composite, Sarah Berretree of Sydney Sydney Rowing Club, and Nisha Hammond of Townsville and James Cook University. In lane 5, a composite between Phoebe Teal of Sydney University Boat Club and Sophie Robinson of Tasmania University Boat Club. In lane 6, Sydney Rowing Club's Liesl Page and Laura Cypher. In lane 7, from Melbourne University Boat Club, Charlotte Ball and Amelie McComb. And the Banks composite in lane 8 has not started.
What a start it's been for lane 2 there. That combination from the University of Queensland, who really powered out early. Scarlett Woodbury and Emily Graham, coached by Michael Russell, although the pace coming from the other side of the course now too, as we do look across the course from our camera van, and you can see lane 6 and 7 as well. Sydney and Melbourne Uni both up there, very much in contention in the early strokes of this race as they head up towards the 500 metre mark. The race here in the under 23 lightweight women's double scull.
Yeah, that crew from Sydney University is starting to push through now and make up some ground on that early leader from the University of Queensland Boat Club are Liesl Page and Laura Cypher. Now, these girls have rowed together for a while now and represented Sydney at the Henley Women's Regatta a couple of years ago, taking out the junior event, the junior double scull event. And here they are now in the under 23 age category. Laura took the silver medal yesterday, I think, in the under-23 lightweight single, and I'm sure she wants a gold today, so she'll be pushing hard back against that University of Queensland Boat Club crew to do that.
Yeah, she did indeed. Yes, Laura Cypher a silver medal yesterday. Behind Sophie Robinson of Tasmania University Boat Club, who's racing here with Phoebe Teal in a Sydney Uni Tasmania University composite crew, but both are Tasmanians. Both will race for Tasmania on Sunday afternoon, a race that I know your state won last year, Lizzie, but Tasmania have a very, very strong record.
They have got Verena Zilm in their combination this year, so they are looking of note. She's been in Tasmania for a couple of years now and hasn't raced interstate competition, so that enables her to do a transfer of domicile, I think you call it.
So it's a two-year qualification period effectively for it to race for a new state. Yep.
Yeah.
So that will be.
And we've got Charlotte Ball in the Melbourne University Boat Club crew. She's really impressed me this regatta. I know her as a sweet person from the Junior 8 a couple of years ago, but she's really looking very handy indeed in the scull. Sydney Rowing Club, but as the race progresses, this Sydney Rowing Club crew is looking more and more impressive.
Yeah, they certainly are. Liesl Page and Laura Cypher, coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths, and they've now taken at least a half-length lead on the very early leaders from the University of Queensland, who did what you often have to do on the outside lane, go out very, very hard and try and get your boat in front and see if you can stay there. I think one of the early races of the day, there was Sir Virgil's double scull from Tasmania that did exactly that and had a win from lane 1, I think it was, in one of the very early races of today. So it can be done against the seedings. This, of course, is a final that they've already came through the semi-finals yesterday. So our 2 semi-final winners are in the centre lanes of this race. That'll be Townsville JCU composite on lane 4 and Tasmania University, Sydney University composite on lane 5. But it's Sydney Rowing Club who lead it here after 1,000 metres now of this race. 3:47.17 was the time for Sydney Rowing Club on lane 6. So Liesl Page and Laura Cypher continue to be in front. University of Queensland still there in second place. That's Sarah Woodbury and Emily Graham. In the composite crew of Imogen Stewart in that boat now.
Oh, that's a shame, but that's quite possible because and I think there's that might be causing her a bit of gypsum.
Possibly for Sunday's festivities, we hope for in the case of Phoebe Teal. So it's Sydney Rowing Club, but who do lead at University of Queensland, I think may well have just about been overtaken now by that Tasmanian combination. So it's now actually Tasmania University Boat Club and St Mary's College of Tasmania in that crew. Imogen Stewart and Sophie Robinson. And they're a very good chance of a medal despite that substitution. In fact, to me, they look to now be up into second place ahead of Scarlett Woodbury and Emily Graham. Lane 1 from Toowong, Alice O'Toole and Jemima Powell, coached by Alex Field and Claire Raven. Jemima Powell finished 4th in the single scull race yesterday. So 3 of the top 4 from the single are in this double scull final as well. But going through with a quarter of the race remaining, it is certainly Sydney Rowing Club who lead very well by 5.70 seconds now over Tasmania Uni St Mary's, who are just in second place, just 0.15 at this stage between a provisional silver and bronze medalist. 5 seconds back to Toowong, who sit 4th. 5th though is Melbourne University, Charlotte Ball and Emily McComb, and then followed by towards the centre of the course from Banks and also Towns. Sydney Rowing Club out in front there on lane 6. A Clearwater lead certainly to the combination there of Liesl Page and Laura Cypher, who's already collected a bronze medal earlier today. Laura Cypher rowing with her sister Grace in a very, very tight finish it was for 3rd over Jessica and Sophie Malcolm of Centenary in that particular race. But I'm not sure we're going to need the photo finish on this particular occasion, because it is certainly the Sydney Rowing Club crew, Liesl Page and Laura Cypher, leading by probably a slightly diminished margin, but still substantial enough as they close in on the finisher now of this race. The race for second certainly is hotting up, which is why our leaders, although being well clear of, got 2 crews really chasing hard to try and get themselves into either second place for the silver medal ahead of 3rd place for the bronze. So that's University of Queensland lane 2 and 5, the 2 crews in that battle for second place, but no such concern for our leaders. Liesl Page and Laura Cypher still in front here. Possibly the University of Queensland just getting back into second place. That one will be tight all the way down to the finish line, but there is no doubt about the win. The under-23 lightweight women's double scull championship of Australia goes the way of Sydney Rowing Club. Liesl Page and Laura Cypher for the win, and second place will indeed go to the early race leaders from the University of Queensland, who responded strongly to that Tasmanian challenge late. Side, Alice O'Toole and Jemima Powell. 5th will be lane 7, the Melbourne Uni crew of Ball and McComb. And 6th and 7th still just to come across the line. Townsville JCU, Sydney Rowing Club will finish in 6th place on lane 4, and Banks in lane 3 will shortly finish in 7th place.
Recapping the results of the Under-23 Lightweight Women's Double Scull Championship. A win for Sydney Rowing Club, Liesl Page and Laura Cypher. Silver medal to the University of Queensland Boat Club, Scarlett Woodbury and Emily Graham, and a bronze medal to Tasmania University and I'm not sure who it will be now. Sophie
Tasmania
Robinson.
University and St Mary's of Tasmania.
St Mary's,
yes,
Tasmania.
Yes. Imogen Stewart and Sophie Robinson will get the bronze.
Winning time 7 minutes 35.83 seconds. The margins 6.73 and 1.6. The presentation of medals and the Herald Weekly Times Trophy for the Australia. The medals and trophy will be presented by Andrew Gearin, OAM, Life Member of Rowing Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, the West Australian Rowing Club Composite. Olympia Aldersea from Adelaide Rowing Club. Lily Alton from the Georgia Patton from West Australian Rowing Club. second, the Melbourne University Composite. Eliza Gaffney from Melbourne University. Jean Mitchell. 24, the Mercantile Composite. Lucy Steffen from Melbourne University Boat Club. Bronwyn Cox from the University of Western Australia Boat Club. Jess Morrison from Mercantile Rowing Club. And Paige Barr from Mercantile Rowing Club. And the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy is now being presented to the crew by Andrew Gearin. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our Australian champions and medalists in the Open Women's Coxless 4.
Thank you, Lizzie. The Herald and Weekly Times trophy there in the safe hands of our race winners. And thank you once again to Hunter Valley Grammar School providing the tray holders for this morning's presentations.
And the race on our screens now, and on the course in front of us is the Under-23 lightweight men's double scull final with Mercantile Rowing Club in lane 2, Seth Swinney and Alex Tomanovitz. Black Mountain from the ACT in lane 3, George Bowditch and Matthew Rickard. The Australian National University even in lane 4, Ishan Shalaka and Max Reardon. In lane 5 from North Esk Rowing Club of Tasmania, Laurie Dean and Oscar Birtwistle. And in lane 6, a composite of Angus Painter from Tasmania University with Sam Parry from Toowong.
Thanks, Lizzie. Great views of the area around Penrith there coming from our drone. And don't forget that Sydney is the major events capital of the Asia Pacific, hosting exclusive international sporting events, Australian premieres of blockbuster musicals, and a world-class calendar of cultural events, including the Sydney Festival, Mardi Gras, Sydney Biennale, and the world-renowned Vivid Sydney, delivering more than $1 billion into the local economy. You can also find a mixture of history, art, and the outdoors in the action-packed Western Sydney suburb of Penrith, where we are today. You can enjoy a lineup of great eateries, cultural treasures at museums and galleries, and extreme thrills like skydiving, whitewater rafting, and wakeboarding, all here in Penrith at the foot of the Blue Mountains on the spectacular Nepean River. Enjoying the spectacular waters of the Sydney International Regatta Centre. Of course, the 2000 Olympic course is the Lane 5 crew from the North Esk Rowing Club in Tasmania, Laurie Dean and Oscar Birtwistle. And they are pretty comfortably clear in this race. In fact, very comfortably clear as we get the drone view. It's certainly the Tasmanians who lead it well, and a half Tasmanian crew also in lane 6, the Toowong Tasmania University combination, Aaron Painter of TasUni and Sam Parry from Toowong, coached by Mark Gaiman. Sean Finlayson sit clearly in second place. Our race leaders from North Esk are coached by Trevor, respectively. The best credentialed combination, and rowing there in the Dion Burt with Dion, who still this year is competing in the National Championships, and he'll take his place in the Interstate Regatta on Sunday, as will his son Oscar, who's in this race for the North Esk Rowing Club and comes through the 1500 metre mark with a very, very handy lead. The North Esk crew from Launceston in Tasmania. Their substantial, fairly new boat shed too on the basically the mouth of the North Esk River, where the North Esk and South Esk meet and become the Tamar and flow north up into the waters of Bath Strait, one of the most impressive boat sheds around the country, of the ones I've been lucky enough to see, at least, the North Esk Rowing Club, and look very, very likely here to claim a national championship gold medal as well. So passing our umpire's boat there with the zonal umpiring system in operation in these older age group events, the under-23 lightweight men's double scull in this particular case, and it's North Esk, Laurie Dean and Oscar Birtwistle still well clear of Angus Painter and Sam Parry, the Tasmanian University Toowong combination, who are just out of shot there, in fact, down the northern side of the course. And the battle for bronze over there on the far side, right in front of our drone, is between Mercantile Seth Swinney and Alex Tomanovitz, and Black Mountain George Bowditch and Matthew Rickard. And the single scull final when that was raced. Although Black Mountain may have something. Gold medal and a big win coming up here to Laurie Deans and Oscar Birtwistle, coached by Trevor Barrett at the North Esk Rowing Club in Launceston, Tasmania. And North Esk win the under-23 lightweight men's double scull by one of the biggest margins of today's final. Coming across in second place soon will be Toowong Tasmania University, so at least 3 Tasmanians on the podium it will be as they cross now Toowong Tasmania in second place. It is very tight for the bronze, but holding on will be the Mercantile crew. Swinney and Tomanovitz just take bronze ahead of Bowditch and Rickard of the Black Mountain Club in the ACT, and also from the ACT in 5th place will come the crew from the Australian National University, Ishan Chalika and Max Reardon.
Confirming the results of the under-23 lightweight men's double scull, a win for North Esk Rowing Club, Laurie Dean and Oscar Birtwistle. Second, third, Mercantile Rowing Club, Swinney and Tomanovitz. The presentation of medals and the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy for the Open Men's Coxless Ford Championship of Australia. The medals and trophy will be presented by Andrew Gearin, OAM, life member of Rowing Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, the Adelaide Composite. Tim Masters from UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. Jack Robertson from Mercantile Rowing Club. Fergus Hamilton from Mercantile Rowing Club. Alexander Hill, OAM, from Adelaide Rowing Club. Second place and silver medalists, the Sydney Composite. Josh Hicks from Sydney Rowing Club. Spencer Turren from Sydney Rowing Club. Benjamin Canham from Melbourne University Boat Club. And Angus Widdicombe from Mercantile Rowing Club. Gold medalists and Australian champions for Sydney University Composite. Sydney University Boat Club. Sydney University Boat Club. Angus Dawson, Adelaide Rowing Club. Jack O'Brien, Sydney University Boat Club. And the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy is now being presented by Andrew Gearin to the crew. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions in the Open Men's Coxless 4 and our medalists. Oh, beautiful drone footage there as we look at the crews racing in the under-23 lightweight men's Coxless 4 championship. We have a composite in lane 3 of Connor Brace and Ethan Bromley and Oliver Cliff from the University of Western Australia, stroked by Jacob Sangster from Fremantle Rowing Club. In lane 4, we have Beecher Ross from Adelaide University and Hugo Worm from Adelaide University, the crew's coached by Sam Morton. And in lane 5 from UTS Haberfield Rowing Club in Sydney, Angus Dunstan, Luca Melozzi, Nicholas Mater and Zink Bosco coached. Richard, it's been really interesting to see a lot of the guys in the under-23 lightweight men's double scull, our previous race, and now this lightweight men's Coxless 4, are members of their state Penrith Cup crews. And the Penrith Cup is a sweep event, the lightweight men's Coxless 4, but we don't have any of our state teams actually practicing in the Coxless 4 event, do we?
Yes, well, good question, Liz. You know, I do happen to know the answer to that. This actually, the Fremantle Western Australia University crew over in lane 3 is the West Australian Penrith Cup crew.
I apologise, I stand corrected.
But interesting to note, as they are an under-23 crew, so obviously a young crew racing for Western Australia in the Penrith Cup. But yes, indeed, that they are getting some practice on the course here before that race on Sunday afternoon.
And looking pretty handy too. And 2 of the New South Wales crew, Nicholas Mater and Zink Bosco, are in that UTS Haberfield crew, so I guess they're getting a hit out in sweep too.
Yes, and also, I'm pretty sure, 2 of the South Australian crew, Beecher Ross and Thomas Osborne, joined in this race by Kyle Miller and Hugo Worm. So yes, each of the states taking different approaches. Of course, this is an under-23 event, so some of the participants in the Penrith Cup may not be able to over the age of 23. But that is certainly the case that at least we will see some of these athletes again back on the course on Sunday afternoon, and probably a few times beforehand, I suspect, as well.
As we gradually ramp up towards that pinnacle, one would say, of our Australian Rowing Championships. Always very exciting.
Yep.
Although obviously we have a number of crews in that event, it's still very tight in terms of numbers, isn't it, compared to our national rowing community?
Yes, no, exactly. It certainly is the very peak who managed to make those crews, and certainly some intense competition between the states in those final few races of the regatta on Sunday afternoon, which we do very much look forward to. The schools and clubs finals before that on Sunday morning. And a great day of racing, of course, tomorrow as well, with finals in the morning and the sprint regatta back on Saturday afternoon. Always one of the fun parts of the national championships, weather permitting. But the forecast here at Perfect Penrith is pretty good for tomorrow afternoon.
Love it. Yeah, actually, we have been so lucky, haven't we? Really beautiful conditions, and at this time of year, never quite sure what you're going to get, whether you're going to get cold or whether you're going to get fierce sunshine. And I think we've had some lovely sunny days.
It's been in between, which is, yes, not too hot, a little bit humid for those of us from down south, especially not used to such things anymore. But very, very good conditions out there on the water, most importantly, certainly after the last couple of nationals. A few issues with winds at both Champion Lakes and Nagambie the year before that, and the alternate draw having to be called into play on occasions there, but not the case here so far at Penrith. Good lead, but still here to this combination from Fremantle and the University of Western Australia. So Connor Brace and Ethan Bromley and Oliver Cliff, all from the University of Western Australia Boat Club, and Jacob Sangster from the Fremantle Rowing Club. The Western Australia on Sunday afternoon. And they lead it pretty comfortably here from about and then UTS Haberfield in lane 5. Angus Dunson, Lucas Pelosi, Nick Mather and Zinc Bosco, who, as Lizzie said, will also be in the New South Wales Penrith Cup crew on Sunday afternoon. And that race is, of course, named for Penrith. I think it was donated by the Penrith Council at some stage many years ago to become a race for the lightweight or the interstate men's lightweight 4 championship of Australia. But this is the race for the under 23 lightweight men's Cox's 4, and the Fremantle Composite crew have built their lead nicely all the way through the race. They had just under a second after 500 metres, 0.97 it was then, but now out to a Clearwater margin, so to be about 3.5 to 4 seconds over the 2 crews behind them, racing well still for the silver and bronze medals. It looks like the South Australian combination will get silver ahead of UTS Haberfield from New South Wales, but it will be Fremantle and the University of Western Australia Boat Club, a length and a half clear, come across and take out the win in the under 23 lightweight men's at Coxley's 4. So lane 3 first, Fremantle, University of WA, second will be the crew.
Men's Coxless 4, a win for the Fremantle Composite. In second place, the Adelaide University Unley High Composite, and in third, UTS Haberfield. For those winners, 6 minutes 33.55. Presentation of medals for the Under-23 Lightweight Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia. Presented by James and bronze medalists, Tasmania University College. Club. Second Club. Scarlett Woodbury. Emily Graham. The crew is coached by Michael Russell. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, Sydney Rowing Club. Liesl Page. Laura Seifer. The crew is coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Ladies and gentlemen, under And now we have our open lightweight women's double scull final with the University of Western Australia in lanes 2 and 3. Lane 2 is Hayley Rowe and Izzy Emery. Lane 3 is Sienna Ptolemy and Lara Glendinning. Team Singapore in lane 4, represented by Shervis Teng and Sherdin Teng. In lane 5, Team Vietnam, Luong Thi Tao and Din Thi Hio, coached by Joe Donnelly. Team Thailand in lane 6, Rawawan Sukayo and Parisa Chayemputsa. And in lane 7, a composite of Lucy de Glaria Cade from Melbourne University and Antonietta de Cosmo from Banks.
Great shots there from behind the start too. You can see the precision how officials Well, precisely the Open Lightweight Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia. Internationally diverse fields of the regatta, I would suspect, with crews from Singapore, Vietnam and Thailand. A couple of crews from Western Australia that for a year or two, at least where I lived, was a separate country. And also one crew from Victoria, the Banks Melbourne Uni combination racing down lane 7. Now, race lead in the early stages is to the crew from Team Vietnam there in the brightly coloured red and yellow, out to an early lead in that light blue boat from the Victorian combination in second place. That's so Team Vietnam in front, Luong Thi Tao and Din Thi Hao, coached by Joe Donnelly. And then the Victorian composite combination there in second place, Lucy de Glaria Cade of Melbourne University, Antonetta de Cosmo of the Banks Rowing Club. That is half of the Victorian crew who would like to win back the Victoria State lightweight. Finished in 4th place the last 2 years, the Victorians, so looking to go 1 or 2 or 3 places better in 2024. But this has been a powerful start by Team Vietnam here, who lead it by a length, 2.67 seconds over Banks Melbourne Uni in second place. Dukau and Parisa Chemputsa, and for Team Thailand, some pretty distinctive colours of their own there, the Team Thailand combination. And then it would be the 2 combinations from the University of Western Australia across in lanes 2 and 3. Hayley Rowe and Izzy Emery. They're on lane 2. They're coached by Roland Warren and Mia Williams and Jonathan Jaski, as is the lane 3 combination, Sienna Tolomai and Lara Glendinning. And then it is Team Singapore, the lane Team Singapore. Still, but Team Vietnam, after that very bright start to the race, lead this by clear water over Banks Melbourne University in second place, just ahead of Team Thailand. De Cosmo from Banks was the winner of the B final yesterday in the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull, after having a boat weight issue in the previous round of racing and ending up in the B final, but going on to win that B final very comfortably. Did the rower from final won by Anika Reardon over continues to be Team Vietnam. Pham Thi Tao of Team Vietnam also was in the final of the Open Lightweight Women's Singles. She finished in 4th place, but a different combination here for Team Vietnam. And then our University of Western Australia scullers are also in that single scull race, and they're here in the double scull combination, sitting in 4th and 5th place. And then the combination from Team Singapore just being overtaken there, it looked like, by the umpire's boat too, as they push towards the line. So Team Vietnam, a light blue boat there. That's the battle for silver and bronze at this stage. Team Thailand lane 6 and Banks Melbourne Uni in lane 7. But a substantial lead here to Team Vietnam's Luong Thi Tao and Din Thi Hao, who are coached by Joe Donnelly. And that is Team Vietnam. In a boat that we think might be borrowed by the Kinross Walleroy, in fact, with the light blue boat, so distinctive, the Kinross program. And Joe Donnelly coaching the combination from Team Vietnam. They've got about 2.5 lengths now on Team Thailand, who would be up into second place. So international crews doing particularly well here in this lightweight women's double scull Championship of Australia final. Cade and Antonetta Cosmo, the third place, and certainly will race again on Sunday afternoon. We can confirm too that the two University of Western Australia double sculls over in lanes 2 and 3 are the two halves of the West Australian crew who will compete in the race for the Victoria Cup on Sunday afternoon. Hayley Rowe, Izzy Emery, Sienna Tolomai and Lara Glendinning. Well into the final 300 metres now of this race. In fact, about to go past the big 1750 metre mark on the far side of the course. And Team Vietnam continue to lead comfortably here from Team Thailand, who should take out the silver medal ahead of the Banks Melbourne Uni Composite crew in third place on lane 7. Across to the far side, good race between those two combinations. And 5th, lane 2 still leading at this stage from lane 3 with about 250 to go for those combinations. And then Team Thailand will be Team Singapore, I should say, lane 4 will be the final crew in the race. But heading up towards the finish here in that Kinross Walleroy light blue boat, and it is Team Vietnam well clear here in the final of the Open Lightweight Women's Double Scull. They really powered away from the start and got themselves about a length or so clear in the very early strokes of the race, and they've continued to build that lead all the way down the 2,000 metre course. And now with 20 metres to go, it's going to be Team Vietnam who will take home the Australian title in the Open Lightweight Women's Double Scull. Team Vietnam, Long Thi Tao and Din Thi Hao join them on the podium in second place. Third will go to Melbourne University Banks, Lucy De Glaria Cade and Ant De Cosmo. And then the two West Australian combinations will row together in a couple of days' time in a lightweight quad scull. But for now, it will be Rowe and Emery in 4th place. Tolomai and Glendinning finish in 5th. And Team Singapore will take out 6th place. And Lizzie, I will leave you with Owen Nix.
Thank you very much, Richard. We'll just confirm Double Scull Championship, a win for Team Vietnam. 5-2. That's Lung Thi Tao and Din Thi Hao, coached by Joe Donnelly. Our silver medal was taken by Team Thailand, Rawiwan Sukawa and Parisa Chayemputsa. The bronze medal by Lucy De Glaria Cade from Melbourne University Boat Club and Ant De Cosmo from Banks. 4th position, University of WA, Rowe and Emery. 5th was University of WA, Ptolemy and Glendinning. And 6th, Team Singapore, Teng and Teng. Presentation of medals for the Under-23 Lightweight Men's Double Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chad King, Rowing Australia Para Head Coach. Third place and bronze medalists, Mercantile Rowing Club. Seth Swinney. And Alex Tomanovitz. Second place and silver medalists. From Toowong and Angus Painter from Tasmania University Boat Club. Sam Parry from Toowong, who was coached medalists and national was coached by Trevor Barrett. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our champions and medalists. And the next race we have is the Open Lightweight Men's Double Scull, with a composite of Wyatt Batt from Sydney University Boat Club and Damien Schroeder from Melbourne University Boat Club in lane 1. A composite of Jonathan Adams from AN2, and Sam Casey, from Tasmania UC, apologies, they have had to scratch. In lane 3, we have the University of Queensland Boat Club crew of Riley Williams and Liam McCoy. In lane 4, a composite, Luke Purdy of Hunter Valley Grammar School with Jason Waddell of Nepean Rowing Club. In lane 5, Team Thailand, Nawamin Deshur Domrat and Sikawarn Wongpin. In lane 6, from Griffith Uni Surfers Paradise, John O'Lock with Commercials Nicholas Langford. And in lane 7,
There's a great race going on with Riley Williams and Liam McCoy of the University of Queensland on screen there, and just at the bottom of screen is that Banks composite, Roberts and Zygetta. So they're having a great tussle and very little separating 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, with just the Nepean Hunter Valley Grammar School crew only about half a length down in that tussle. So certainly the medals still all to play for as we start to make the way up through the 750 metre mark. Starting to push on this Banks composite crew, coached by Al Matthews and Brendan Scott on this side of the course. So they're finding their race rhythm and they're finding that they've got the boat speed. So we'll see how this transpires. The lightweight men's events, maximum weight a competitor can weigh in is 72.5 kilograms. As we focus on Michael Russell over on the southern bank and on the e-scooter. No doubt watching his University of Queensland crew vying for the lead. So Riley Williams and Liam McCoy. Team Thailand, Nawamin Deshur Domrat and Siwakorn Wongpin are there in 3rd position. So they make their way through the 1,000 metre mark. Still that good race going on for 4th, 5th and 6th. Batt and Schroeder just narrowly ahead of Langford and Locke, and then Purdy and Waddell there in 6th position, but still by no means out of the medals. And we saw Luke Purdy have a great finish in the under-19 men's double scull earlier on this morning, where he claimed the bronze medal. And Jason Waddell's also someone that can really bring it home too. So they'll be a crew to watch in the latter stage of this. So 36 strokes to the minute, the Banks Mercantile, Roberts and Zygetta are in the race lead over the University of Queensland and Team Thailand looming there. They've got the overlap with the UQ boat. Starting to make their way metres. Still Mercantile Banks, and they haven't been able to make a decisive push in that 3rd 500 metres to shake off the University of Queensland crew and Team Thailand. They're just hanging around and just edging up on the University of Queensland crew. So it's starting to now separate a bit of a gap between 3rd and the 4th place crew, Wyatt Batt, Sydney University and Damien Schroeder, Melbourne University. 5th is the Nepean Composite, and Langford and Locke are now just starting to lose touch, and they are starting to look destined for 6th position. So you can see the gap that the Hunter Valley Grammar School Nepean crew have put into the Griffith Uni commercial composite in lane number 6. So big story in this one though is Team Thailand, Nawamin Deshudamrat and Siwakorn Wongpin, that are starting to push up and challenge for a shinier medal. That's them on screen now in lane number 5. And they're doing it through some long strokes and some good power in the boat. You can see Wyatt Batt on screen and Damien Schroeder. So we'll see who has a good change of pace as we come into the last 250 metres. University of Queensland trying to see if they can fend off Team Thailand and also challenge the Banks Mercantile crew in lane number 7. So it's between these three, it would seem. Batt and Schroeder giving it a good red hot go on the far side of the course. They've got the rating right up. Schroeder 40 strokes a minute over on the far side of the course as they're trying to see if they can improve on their current 4th placing, but a couple of bad crabs in there from the Banks Mercantile crew. Could see them finish out of the medals. They were looking like they could take out the national championship and they could come home empty-handed. So University of Queensland in the lead. Team Thailand going right after them. And can the Melbourne University, Sydney University crew reel in this Banks Mercantile crew that had it all going their own way? So go stroke for stroke towards the line. University of Queensland are going to take it out from Team Thailand, and Sydney University, Melbourne University claim the bronze. And I am sure there'll be some composite 5th, and Griffith University Surfers Paradise Commercial in the grey shell will cross.
So confirming the results of our open lightweight men's double scull with that very fast and exciting finish. It was a win for the University of Queensland Boat Club's Riley Williams and Liam and Nawamin Deshudamrat. Wyatt Batt from Boat Club, coached by Sam Fennessy and Tom Lorridge, having to settle for 4th, the Banks Mercantile composite of Roberts and Zygetter. 5th, Nepean composite of Purdy and Waddell. And the winning time was 6 minutes 54.97. Presentation of medals for the Under-23 Lightweight Men's Coxless 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chad King, Rowing Australia head coach of para rowing. Third place and bronze medalists, UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. In second place, Adelaide University and Unley High. Beecher Ross from Adelaide University. Thomas Osborne from Unley High School. Kyle Miller from Adelaide University. Hugo Worm from Adelaide University. The crew was coached by Sam Morton. Gold medalists and national champions, Fremantle Rowing Club and the University of WA. Club. WA Boat Club. Oliver Cliff, also from UWABC, and strokeman Jacob Sangster from Fremantle Rowing Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions and medalists. On the course now, we have the PR3 men's coxless pair. Christian Lane Krebs, representing Bundaberg Rowing Club, rowing with Stuart John of the Australian National University. Their coaches are William Hatcher from ANU and Alan Goff from Bundaberg. And Christian Lane Krebs, we were informed, is the was nominated as
Australian of the Year.
Australian of the yes, of the Year for WA.
And Christian and Stuart have done battle a couple of times this week in the single sculls. And yes, a Bundaberg Young Citizen of the Year on Australia Day. So congratulations to Christian Lane Krebs in the bow seat and the yellow and black colour seat. So they've done battle a couple of times this week in the single sculls, and very little separating them in the single sculls. It was Christian that took out the B final. Stuart made it through to the A final at Christian's expense. They're teaming up here. They've come through the first 500 metres. 2:20 is the time through that juncture.
So I think I remember seeing Christian's first nationals. I think it was at rowing in Lake Barrington, where we're heading back next year. And he's improved so much under the coaching of Alan Goff since he first started. He's a very busy young man. He does an awful lot for the community and is involved in quite a few sports, but we're really so delighted that he decided to try para rowing. PR3 rowing, we were talking about this earlier, and in a moment we'll see, I believe, PR2 and PR1, so we can see examples of that. But PR rowers have use of all three. PR2 where they have 2 muscle groups, and PR1 where they have 1. And we can see here in the sweep rowing managing to reach out. Stuart has a hand impairment, and there are various accessories that allow people to row that help them attach to the oar, the footplate or the seat. And in the case of Stuart, he uses an accessory that helps him grip the oar handle. So there are a combination of straps, prosthetic hands, things like handles that you can attach. So Alex Vullerman has a handle that she pushes towards her or away from her when she wants to feather and square. So a para rowing I always think is wonderful. It's like the next step up in rowing for a coach, because you're always trying to solve a problem.
And grips.
Because they have different impairments, yeah.
So
Yeah.
just something there that helps him stop his forearms from blowing up. So
And he is amazing because he doesn't have some fingertips, and in sculling you generally use the longer parts of your appendages to actually be able to roll, feather and square. So yeah, getting some lovely footage here. So folks, this is being brought to you by drone cameraman John Meekings, and we saw some from behind the boat earlier, and now we're seeing some from looking at the crew as they're rowing. Seeing the beautiful course here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre in Penrith, New South Wales.
yeah, so they've actually gone faster in that second 500 than the first. So 2:20 through the first and 2:18 and change through that second 500 metres. Just there, just moving over onto the buoy line. I'm sure they'll correct that. If you've never rowed here, those buoys are much harder than they look.
They certainly are. I took some of my school crews to the Iron Cove regatta that was held last weekend, and they were so delighted that there were no buoy lines that they had to follow. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing as they rode off into the distance, but there we go. I was just thinking, so for those of you joining us on the live stream or here at the venue who themselves have an impairment or know somebody that has that might be interested in rowing, the place to go if you're interested in para rowing, well, a couple of suggestions. One would be your state association, who can help you find a local rowing club that might be able to facilitate para rowing, and the other would be to contact Rowing Australia, our para head coach Chad King, our lead coach James Loveday. They often visit clubs around the country, and they would have contacts as well. And there's just such a range now of boats, blades, and as I said, implements or accessories to help you row, that nothing is really too much of a problem. Lots of people with lots of ideas and a really wonderful community in para rowing here in Australia. We're so lucky.
Yeah, and enjoying seeing it grow and prosper. And as we saw from events requiring heats to qualify through to the finals, which is great to see, and the quality of B finals and the like, showing you the strength and depth that exists. So
I totally agree. Over the years that we've been watching it and helping it grow, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely a growth area of our sport, and really helps our sport be totally inclusive, which is what we want.
So just heading up through the 1500 metre mark. And
such a shame they don't have competition. They're rowing really well.
that third 500 was even quicker, so they've gone quicker through as they've progressed down the course, this combination. Christian Lane Krebs and Stuart John, so 2:20, 2:18, 2:17 through that third 500 metres. Now just making their way up to a red buoy in their lane, which signifies 250 metres left to cover. As Mossman President Jim Battersby looks on. Around Stuart John to see how far to go. It's a bit under 200 metres, and the Bundaberg Australian National University crew, great to see them improving all the way down the course. Their boat is named Para Powered, and that power has continued to increase down the course. So 100 metres left to cover now in this PR3 men's coxless pair.
Nice lively rate there, about 32 strokes a minute as they power towards the finish line now in our final of the PR3 men's coxless pair.
Another 2 strokes to go and they will cross, take out the national championship.
And that was a time of 9 minutes, 10.3 seconds. Yeah, para rowing has got so much faster. It's wonderful. Presentation of medals for the Open Lightweight Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chad King, Rowing Australia Head Coach Para Rowing. Third place and bronze medalists representing Banks Rowing Club and Antonietta Di Cosmo from Banks. Lucy de Glaria Cade from Melbourne University Boat Club. Second place and silver medalists, Team Thailand. Rawiwan Sukaew. Parisa Chayemputsa. And our national champions and gold medalists in 2024, Team Vietnam. Luong Thi Thao. Din Thi Hao. The crew is coached by Joe Donnelly. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our champions and medalists in the Open Lightweight Women's Double Scull. So we have now a combination of the PR2 women's single scull and the PR1 men's single scull. And on the screen we can see our silver Paralympic medalist, Eric Horry, representing Sydney Rowing Club, and I believe the Queensland Academy of Sport, because he's, in preparation for the Olympics, moved back home to the Gold Coast. And he has a commanding lead, as we would expect. Eric, who's been rowing since 2011, when he claimed a bronze medal at his first World Championship and then went to the Paralympics in London in 2012 and secured a silver medal. Also in that race is Mitchell Bales from Torrens Rowing Club of South Australia, who have a very strong para program under the guidance of Christine McLaren from the South Australian Sports Institute, and we believe they will be joined by the PR2 women's single scull, Sarah Ashley Tate from Griffith Uni Surfers Paradise, coached by Chris Holliday. Move to the presentation of medals for the Open Lightweight Men's Double Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Chad King, Rowing Australia Head Coach Para Rowing. Third place and bronze medalists. Wyatt Batt from Sydney University Boat Club. Damien Schroeder from Melbourne University Boat Club. The crew is coached by Sam Fennessy and Tom Lorridge. second and silver medalists, Team Thailand. Naomin Dechudnonrat and Siwakon Wongopin. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2024, the University of Queensland Boat Club. Riley Williams. Liam McCoy. The crew is coached by Michael Russell. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our champions and medalists in the open lightweight men's double scull. Oh, lovely footage there from that drone, don't you think? Seeing the puddles there of Eric Corrie as he makes his way down the course in the PR1 men's single scull.
It's almost the exact view that Eric has over the field. He went through that 1,500, the 1,000 metre mark in 4:43, and he's coming up towards the 1,500 metre mark at the present moment. Mitchell Bales of Torrens Rowing Club is in second spot, some distance back. And also in this race, Sarah Ashley Tate, in a different event, in the PR2 women's single scull from Griffith Uni Surfers Paradise, is in third place. So Eric, 5-time world champion, 2-time Paralympic silver medalist, and certainly a veteran of world rowing and para rowing. And it's fantastic to see him still continue to evolve and improve over the years, and he's making his way up towards the 1,600 metre mark at the present moment.
So the PR1 category we were saying earlier is where you can use your arms, shoulders, and just a slight bit of your trunk. And I think the main difference really for me between PR2 and PR1 is the boat that they use. So although the hull is similar, the PR1s don't have the trunk stability to be able to balance the boat. So they have floats underneath their riggers to ensure their safety. Whereas the PR2 single scullers don't have the floats.
I think there's no requirement for the floats to touch the water, is there? They
Not
used
anymore,
to be a
they used to be,
requirement.
yes. And so the what was the year that was it 2016 we moved to 2,000 metres? No, I think it was 2020. We moved to 2,000 metres, and that of course it's a long way to drag a pair of floats.
Yeah,
so that has changed now with the floats now, as we can see from Eric's boat there, they can be lifted off the water as long as they are there and can be used for stability in the event of imbalance. And of course, different athletes will adjust those floats accordingly. You can also see that Eric has a spinal seat there to support his lower back so that he can't go back too far. And some strapping around his hips. And again, that's a big change too. There used to be strapping around the chest that didn't allow you to get any rock over. Free to do that. He's able to adjust the angle of his legs, so although the legs aren't providing any force for him, he can get better anatomical reach, I guess you call it, or biomechanical reach, by having his legs in that position out of the way of the handles of the oars.
So Eric Corrie coming up towards the line, and we'll take out the PR1 men's single scull. And time 9 minutes 40.77, which is good going at this time of year for Eric Corrie, who's still doing plenty of training leading up to Paris. Mitchell Bales of Torrens has come through the 1,600 metre mark.
presentation of medals for the PR3 Men's Coxless Pair Championship of Australia. The medals are being presented by James Loveday, Rowing Australia Para-Rowing Lead Coach. And our champion Stuart John from the Australian National University Boat Club. Their coaches are William Hatcher, ANU, and Alan Goff of Bundaberg. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions in the PR3 Men's Coxless Pair.
Just over 150 metres left to cover for the Torrens Sculler Mitchell Bales in the PR1 Men's Single Scull. It's fantastic to see new talent coming through. Eric was always someone that would promote that. He'd head up to when he was based in Sydney, head up to the Queensland State Championships in January and promote para-rowing at every opportunity, encourage others in para-rowing. So certainly he'll be delighted to see Mitchell Bales on the start line and be delighted to see him after the finish line as he heads into the last 60 metres.
We can see again the floats providing stability and the spinal chair. Yeah, wonderful para community here in Australia, and I think rowing just such a great sport really for somebody who has an impairment, because we have so many ways to make it accessible.
Heading up towards the line, Mitchell Bales of Torrens, claiming second in the PR1 Men's Single Scull.
Yeah, well done, Mitchell. It's a long way.
How good's that? An icon of para-rowing, Eric Horry, giving you the thumbs up after you finished your National Championship final.
So fantastic as well to be able to travel from South Australia. I know they've got a great 2,000 metre course there. We've got glorious conditions for para-rowing right now, which is awesome. So our next competitor across the line will be Sarah Ashley Tate, again fairly new to para-rowing, rowing in Queensland at the Griffith Unisurfers Paradise Rowing Club, under the coaching of Chris Holliday, who used to coach James Talbot at the Sydney University Boat Club. James, a PR3 rower who stroked the PR3 Coxed 4 at the Tokyo Paralympic Games.
Yeah, Chris, vastly experienced coach, and Sarah Ashley Tate just about to make her way through the 1,500 metre mark in about another 5 strokes. Rescue boats and the umpires' boats that are following are there as this is the last race before the luncheon break, with racing to resume at 1:30 with the under-17 women's Coxed Quad Scull semi-final. So that's why you can see all those boats following down the course. The umpires that were stationed on the side for zonal umpiring are now just starting to move into a formation and head down the course. Follow Sarah Ashley Tate home.
I can see that Sarah has chosen to use floats, so I'd imagine she's relatively inexperienced. So she's got the floats as well, even though she's PR2 category, and it looks as though she might have either a spinal seat or a very big sneak on the back of the boat there. Matter as long as it helps you
Of course, the para-rowing events at this regatta all contribute to the para-rowing. It is a state-based contributing to the point score for the state of Queensland, where Griffith University Surfers Paradise are located. University sculler.
So just a reminder that in the event of an emergency or an evacuation, you'll be directed by event and venue staff, if you could please follow their instructions. Reminders also to wear a helmet if you are on a bicycle, and if you have a dog with you, to keep them on a leash and under control at all times. We'd really like that you avoid leaving bags or personal belongings unattended. And there are plenty of bins around to help us keep CERT clean for our rubbish. Even though it's deceptively overcast this morning, the UV is very high, so please make sure to stay sun smart and slip, slop, slap and sip, which means slip on a long sleeve shirt after racing, slop on some sunscreen, please slap on a hat, and do sip on some water to keep you hydrated. And we've got the latest results and draws on our website, arc.rowingaustralia.com.au. As we head into the lunch break, a reminder that in the boat park we have traders and boat builders, including Sykes, Croker Oars, Wintec, Rowfit, Rowgear and Perfect Balance Rowing. And in our shopping village, the Regatta Village, a range of products and services on offer.
Eric Horry did a turn on a dime. Follow down with Sarah Ashley Tate and Encourager along. Fellow para rowers in Australia. A few lanes across, cheering her on. So just another 3 strokes to go. And the Griffith Uni Surfers Paradise sculler, Sarah Ashley Tate, will take out the PR2 Women's Single Scull Championship of Australia.
We'll just wait for our medalists to come to the pontoon, and a reminder that traders in our Regatta Village have a range of products and services on offer, with high-definition sport lenses from Bollé, rowing jewellery from Sport Republic, rowing apparel from 776 BC, rowing shoes from Bont Rowing. There's official merchandise in the regatta shop, refreshments thanks to Bonsoy, row gear with rowing accessories, Wexworks with LED lights and safety vests for sale, and Pontoon Sports and Rival Kit have custom apparel available. You can also check out the health and wellness traders, Elements Float Health Spa for all of your recovery needs, and Gotcha for Life, which is a foundation dedicated to building a mentally fit future. So they're here raising money with a 24-hour row and would be grateful for your support. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready now to present medals to our para rowers. For the P, our national champion for 2024, representing Sydney Rowing Club, Eric Horry. Receiving his medal from James Loveday, Rowing Australia's lead coach, para rowing. Surfers Paradise. Sarah Ashley is coached by Chris Holliday. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champions in the PR1 men's and PR2 women's single sculls. So that concludes a morning of intense racing, I think, with lots of finals there and plenty of medals for all. And this afternoon we will resume racing at 1:30 with under 17, under 19 and school racing, where we have some semi-finals, a few finals, including the lightweight men's Coxgate racing for the Buckingham Centenary Trophy. And some under 19 eights, etc. And then we're moving back into school rowing. So plenty to look forward to. The afternoon will end with some ferocious racing between school boys and school girls eights. We hope you will rejoin us in just over half an hour's time.